I wanna hear the one about the big old plum tree. I wanna hear the one about the giggly bumblebee. I wanna hear the one about the juggly jumping flea. That's the story that I wanna hear. That's the story, that's the story, that's the story that I wanna hear. That's the story, that's the story, that's the story that I wanna hear.
G'day, I'm Ronnie, and yes, it's another instalment of That's the Story. This week, we've got yet another theme for our show. Let's see if you can pick out what this week's theme is. Now, we've got a few songs, we've got a few stories, we've got a Who Am I game, but first of all...
chocolate cake with cream and raspberry jam in the middle and chocolate icing. Coffee cake with mock cream in the middle and coffee icing and chocolate hail. Sponge cake dusted with icing sugar on top and with cream and berry jam in the middle. Harriet loves cakes. Chilled cheesecake with passion fruit puree. Baked cheesecake with blueberries. Lemon poppy seed cake. Even though the poppy seeds sometimes get stuck in her teeth, Harriet still loves lemon poppy seed cake. She loves banana cake with lemon icing and banana cake with chocolate icing. She likes the way the banana seeds look like tiny little black wavy strings when baked in a cake. So different from how they look in a fresh banana. Harriet loves carrot cake with pineapple and walnuts and cream cheese icing. She loves carrot cake without pineapple and walnuts, but still with cream cheese icing. Spiced apple cake with cinnamon and sultanas and creamy icing. Madeira cake, all golden and moist. Caraway seed cake, sultana cake. Harriet even likes Christmas cake with green and red glacé cherries and marzipan icing. She likes cathedral window cakes that are so full of fruit and nuts that there is hardly any cake holding it together. So when you cut a slice, it's like looking through a stained glass window. Chocolate mud cake with chocolate ganache icing. Black forest gâteau with multiple layers full of preserved cherries and cream and chocolate flakes. Almond cake and semolina cake and gluten-free orange cake with orange syrup. Harriet's favourite cake is peanut cake with peanut butter icing and chocolate cream in the middle. She could eat it all day, every day. She loves peanuts. Most people would be worried about putting on weight if they ate cake every day. After all, too much of a good thing can be bad for you. But Harriet isn't too concerned. She has a good appetite and eats lots of healthy vegetables and fruits and muesli. So one slice of cake per day doesn't seem excessive for a very big elephant.
If you would like to listen to more stories, watch cartoons, listen to songs, and enjoy just general silliness, pop along to the That's the Story YouTube channel and subscribe. It's lots of fun. Now, we've got a Who Am I game coming up in a moment.
Darwood Dandelion had a little problem. It was only a little problem, but one which caused great embarrassment. It would happen whilst partaking in his favourite meal. It would cause much embarrassment whilst eating in restaurants. Cause great giggles when nibbling in the cafe. It would cause lots of commotion at the dinner table. And let's not even mention the fuss it would cause at Sunday lunch at his Gran's house. Oh my goodness, did it cause problems there. His Gran was appalled, astounded, aghast, completely discombobulated. She was at a loss for words, and they would spend the entire rest of Sunday lunch in very uncomfortable silence. Darwood Dandelion certainly had a serious problem with eating his favourite food, for Darwood Dandelion loved baked beans, and every time he'd eat his baked beans, he couldn't help but spill it all down the front of his clean new white shirt. He couldn't figure it out. His mother thought that perhaps it was because he loved baked beans so much that in his haste to wolf his favourite food down his gob, he'd miss his mouth every now and then and spill a little down the front of his clean white shirt. A fair enough theory, and probably true, but it didn't help our Darwood Dandelion. He tried a bib. It didn't work. Baked beans still managed to spill over the sides, under the bib and on his clean new white shirt. He tried wrapping himself in Glad Wrap, but still the baked beans managed to slurp and slide their way under the wrap and onto his clean new white shirt. His most elaborate plan was a magnificent piece of architectural planning. He cut a hole in the top of the table, just big enough for his head to squeeze through, so only his head poked through the table. He then got his younger brother to spoon-feed him the baked beans, but his brother dropped the bowl of baked beans on the floor and they splattered all over Darwood Dandelion's clean new white shirt. He even tried eating without his clean white shirt on, but the odd baked bean flew through the air and landed square in the middle of his new clean white shirt hanging on a coat hanger over the dining room door. It was almost as if the baked beans were trying to seek out his clean new white shirt. Darwood Dandelion didn't know what to do. It was a Sunday afternoon when the cure was found. It was Dad that had thought of it, and Mum thought it a splendid idea. That afternoon, Darwood Dandelion was taken out in the car. On their return, there was something different about Darwood Dandelion, and the problem was solved forever. Do you know what they did? Darwood Dandelion's mum and dad took him shopping. They bought him a new shirt. From its collar at the top to the tail at the bottom, on the pockets on the front, right across the back, even on the buttons. The whole shirt was covered in pictures of baked beans. Millions of them. So now Darwood Dandelion has a special baked beans eating shirt. He can spill all he likes, you'll never even notice. There was one other problem, but one doesn't talk about that in polite company.
Who am I? It's a bit of a cool game. Now, we're about to give you a whole lot of clues. From those clues, we want you to try and guess who it is we're talking about. So, take some notes, write some clues down. You can use Google, talk amongst yourselves, maybe work as a team. Here come those clues. Listen very carefully. What's his name? What's she called? I think I know who that is. Who could it be? Let's wait and see what the clues are to this quiz.
His name was Theodore Geisel, but that's not how we know him. He was born on March the 2nd, 1904, in Springfield, Massachusetts, in the United States. During his lifetime, more than 600 million copies of his children's books were sold throughout the world. His literary works were translated into more than 20 languages. His parents were called Theodore Robert and Henrietta. On July the 16th, 1927, his first nationally published cartoon appeared in the Saturday Evening Post. He began working for Humour magazine in 1927 as a writer and illustrator. He won an Academy Award for animated short film following the release of a film based on an original story. The 1950 film was also called Gerald McBoing Boing and featured a boy who communicates through sound effects rather than words. In 1950, he wrote and illustrated a book called If I Ran the Zoo.
What's his name? What's she called? I think I know who that is. So, did any of those clues help? Maybe you could get your teacher to play it again for you if you're not sure. Use Google if you have to. Now, let's have another story. Mr. Mumbo was a convivial kind of chap. Mr. Mumbo liked everybody and everybody liked Mr. Mumbo. And the reason everybody liked Mr. Mumbo, well, apart from him being an incredibly convivial kind of chap, Mr. Mumbo made the yummiest gumbo in all of Jumbo. That's a little town just out of Gisborne. Not too many people know about Jumbo. In fact, nobody has probably ever heard of Jumbo. It's one of those little towns that everyone has seen but never knew anything about. So very quickly and very conveniently, they all forgot about it. Quick, smart. Now, where was I? Yes, Mr. Mumbo made one Yumbo Gumbo. He was from Jumbo. It was lovingly known in the town called Jumbo as Mr. Mumbo's Yumbo Gumbo, and everybody in Jumbo had tried Mr. Mumbo's Yumbo Gumbo. Mr. Mumbo's Yumbo Gumbo bubbled and boiled and sizzled and simmered all day and all night. Mr. Mumbo grew his own tomatoes. Mr. Mumbo grew his own onions. He grew garlic and chili peppers, green peppers and yellow peppers. In would go the ginger, salt and pepper. Some said Mr. Mumbo's Yumbo Gumbo could lift the paint off a car, it was so hot, but boy oh boy was it delicious. Just before it was ready to serve, into Mr. Mumbo's Yumbo Gumbo would go fish and cockles and prawns and mussels. The shells would open, everybody's mouths would start to water. The bread came out of the oven because everybody knew that Mr. Mumbo's Yumbo Gumbo was best eaten with a deliciously freshly baked loaf of bread. He scooped and scooped portion after portion after portion as the whole population of Jumbo lined up and waited for their helping of Mr. Mumbo's Yumbo Gumbo. It was always an event the whole town longed for. But this Sunday afternoon, Mr. Mumbo's Yumbo Gumbo wasn't on the menu. This Sunday, Mr. Mumbo made porridge with plums and brown sugar. The population of Jumbo weren't too impressed when they found out Mr. Mumbo's Yumbo Gumbo was not there. "What's this porridge?" one of the many people of Jumbo inquired. "With plums and brown sugar," added Mr. Mumbo, but Yumbo Gumbo was what they wanted. "We want Yumbo Gumbo! We want Yumbo Gumbo! We want Yumbo Gumbo!" they chanted. But once the hunger set in and the chanting stopped, one by one, the people of Jumbo, which is a small town just out of Gisborne that not too many people know about, all started nibbling at the porridge. Then they started to sip and slurp at the porridge, munch and burp at the porridge, until the entire population of Jumbo were munching and crunching and gulping and wolfing down Mr. Mumbo's particularly pleasing porridge with plums and brown sugar on top. And when it was all done, the dishes were washed and stacked. The whole population of Jumbo, just out of Gisborne, had one giant afternoon nap. Mr. Mumbo's Yumbo Gumbo was indeed Yumbo, but it's always nice to try something different, just every now and then. Hey.
J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone on a typewriter. Neil Armstrong earned his pilot license when he was just 16. Roald Dahl was named after a Norwegian polar explorer.
"I'm hungry," said Louis. "Hello, hungry. I'm Mum," replied Mum. "No, I'm really hungry," said Louis. "Hello, really hungry? I'm still just Mum," Mum responded with a silly smirk on her face. Louis could tell that this conversation could go on for quite some time if he didn't put a stop to it real fast. "Can I have something to eat?" Louis asked. Mum rolled her eyes. "Why don't you make yourself a sandwich?" she said. "OK," thought Louis, "I will." And he popped down off his stool and went to the pantry to get the bread. "I'm going to make the best sandwich ever," thought Louis as he pulled out 2 wholemeal slices before putting the bread away again. Louis lay his 2 slices on the bench. "Now for the ingredients," he muttered, and went and opened the fridge door. Inside the fridge were all sorts of bits and pieces, perfect for making the mightiest sandwich ever. Louis grabbed the margarine and then peered more closely at the contents of the fridge. Lettuce, mayo, tomatoes, and some sliced ham, peanut butter. Louis loved peanut butter, so he pulled that out too. He took his pile of edibles back to the bench and began to prepare his sandwich. He spread a bit of marge on both slices, then spread mayo on one piece and peanut butter on the other. He pulled off a few lettuce leaves and carefully laid them on top of the peanut butter. He placed a slice of ham on top of the lettuce and then very, very carefully sliced a tomato and put it on top of that. "Right, what else?" thought Louis, as he returned his first lot of contents to the fridge. Louis looked again deep into the fridge. "I wonder what's right at the back," he asked himself as he pushed aside the tomato sauce. Right at the back, Louis discovered Dad's special pickle. "This'll be perfect for my sandwich," he thought. "What else?" Louis gathered up the pickle, the cheese, some red peppers, his favourite strawberry jam, some sliced pineapple and the Vegemite. He always liked a bit of Vegemite on toast, so figured it would be just the thing for his sandwich. Back to the bench he trotted and one by one added the extra ingredients to his sandwich, including a big dollop of Dad's special pickle. The sandwich got higher and higher. I think that'll do, said Louis, as he returned everything to the fridge and shut the door. Louis returned to the kitchen bench. Both pieces of bread were piled sky high with a multitude of brightly coloured foodstuffs. "This sandwich is going to be amazing," said Louis excitedly to himself. It was a bit of a struggle getting the two halves together, and at one point Louis nearly dropped half the sandwich on the floor, but finally he arranged the pile of food into something that closely resembled a sandwich. "What a mighty sandwich," said Louis, and it was. 2 pieces of wholemeal bread, peanut butter, mayo, lettuce, tomato, ham, cheese, red pepper, strawberry jam, pineapple slices, Vegemite, pickle, sardines, cucumber, aubergines, hundreds and thousands, carrots, boiled eggs, salami, last night's roast chicken leftovers, and stuffing, radish, kiwi fruit, luncheon meat, potato chips, peanuts, honey, coleslaw, tomato sauce, chutney, feta cheese, olives, potato salad, Dad's special pickle, couscous, and a little sprig of parsley on the top just for garnish. The sandwich was so big that Louis had to stretch his mouth open as wide as it could possibly go. "This is going to be yum," thought Louis as he took the first bite of his mighty sandwich. "Yuck!" yelled Louis as he disgustingly spat out the contents from his mouth. "That's the worst sandwich ever!" And indeed it was. You see, sometimes you can have too much of a good thing, and often not all flavours go together. Louis was not impressed. His mighty sandwich was a complete and utter failure. Louis went searching for his mum. He found her in the garden reading her book. "Mum," said Louis, "I'm hungry." "Hello, hungry. I'm Mum," said Mum. And Louis groaned. Not this again.
The That's the Story YouTube channel has stories, cartoons, songs, and silliness. Do subscribe. That's the Story YouTube channel. It's lots of fun. Now let's eat some frogs.
I'd like to sing for you a song about a subject that's dear to my heart. I don't like lollies and I don't like cake, and sweet juicy berries I really hate, 'cause I like eating green and slimy big fat croaky frogs. I like eating frogs. I don't like pavlova, so if you come over, you won't find any on your plate. I don't like ice cream. When I eat it, ice cream and me and chocolate aren't the best of mates, 'cause I like eating green and slimy big fat croaky frogs. I like eating frogs. Delicious.
Oh, I hate to say it, people, but that's my lot for another week. Thanks ever so much for joining me. I'll catch you again next week. Until then, ka kite anō.
That's the story that I wanna hear.